So the next three podcasts are basically going to be solving, but I want to show you both algebraic solving and graphing solving. Now, these are all things that you studied, surprisingly enough, I hate to say it, but in Math 20. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Well, let's go. First things first, always look at that non-permissible value. You know and I know that x plus 1 cannot equal to 0. That means x cannot equal to -1. That, of course, is going to end up being our equation of our asymptote, which is, of course, x equals to -1, which is our asymptote. Asymptote. Oh, do you remember that guy? Okay, so you're all familiar with that. The second thing that you have to remember is look at this equation. I don't like that -2 there. It all equals to 0. Now, you can graph this two different ways. We'll get into the graphing in a minute. But I'm just going to bring the 2 over. And watch how simple this becomes. If I bring the 2 over, check this out. This just becomes equal to 2. And I know that you know that you know that I know that I know that you know. Guess what? Cross multiplication. Look how simple this one is. This is 1 times 3, which equals to 3. This is 2 times x plus 1. Yeah, that thing that we learned all the way back in grade 5. Oh my God, yeah, that's so tough. Distribute, distribute. You got 3 equals 2. 2x plus 2. Bring the 2 over. You got 2x equals to 1. Divide by 2. Divide by 2. X equals to an ARF. There is your answer. We know that the value here, x equals to 1/2, is our solution. Okay, so now that we've got our solution down and everything's happy, let's actually go out and graphically put this into our calculator, and then we're going to end up graphing it here. Now, I know what you're saying. You're probably saying, well, can't we just go directly from the equation and graph it? Yeah, to an extent, you can. But you know what? There's that real expensive device right in front of you, that beautiful calculator you paid hundreds of dollars for. Let's just use it. Okay, so first things first, got my calculator. Y equals 2. Now, we have two different options here. If we go back to this, we have an option of doing it this way, and you can just put it into your graphing calculator, and we can find the x-intercept. We can do that. So why don't we just do that right now? Let's find that x-intercept. So you're going to put it in as a fraction, so hit alpha F1, hit your fraction button, throw it in there as 3 over, there's your x plus 1, right? Mouse it over, subtract 2, and you're just going to go out and you're going to graph it. And lo and behold, look what happens. Right there, baby. There it is. Right there. You can actually see it. Now, if you're stuck and wondering what is that value, don't forget, that is an x-intercept, also known as second calc, a 0. So this is where you're going to have to do the left bound, and then you're going to have to do the right bound, and you're going to hit enter, and look at that. There's your answer of x equals to 0.5. How beautiful. Look at that. Okay, it's even blinking over my little green star that I put in here. Oh, how pretty is that? Okay, so that just confirms that we did the right thing. So you can actually, at this point, graph it if you want to. I want to show you one other alternate way of graphing this. Don't forget, you can actually take this, bring this -2 over like we did when we solved it, had 3x plus 1 equaling to 2, and the neat thing is you can do your y1, there's your y1, y2 scenario. Okay, so how do we do this? Well, graphing it is really, really simple because a couple things we have to remember. We have an asymptote, okay, at -1. So there's my asymptote right there. We have one line, which is the y2 here at actually 2. So I'm just going to just draw the y2 in right there. Perfect. We know at x equals 1/2, so there's my x equals 1/2, which is right there. It's going to intersect this line. Okay, so now let's go back to our calculator here. Let's go back to our y equals 2. I'm going to get rid of this -2 here. So I'm just going to mouse over and just grab it and go delete, delete. And I'm going to put my 2 down here just so that matches what I solved and had right there. Okay, so there's my y1, y2. Now it's set up perfectly. I'm going to hit graph, and lo and behold, look at that. There's what we have. And again, there's my point of intersection now. Instead of a 0, it's an intersection. How do I know? Prove it. second calc, find the intersect, which is 5, enter, 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 and there's your, lo and behold, there's your 0.5. Remember, the y does not matter. You don't care about the y because there is no y in the original equation. So let's graph this. Okay, so first things first, go back over here and we're going to graph this. Remember, this guy has to hug this asymptote all the way down, comes down to here, and then starts curving towards our x-axis. Now, be very, very careful because you can mess this up, and I don't want you to mess this up. Remember, this is not an asymptote. It's not your horizontal asymptote. Your asymptote in this case is actually 0, and it should go like that along there. Your horizontal asymptote is actually 0. Don't believe me? Go back to the calculator and take a look. Look at those two blue lines. They're hugging the x-axis. Okay, so a couple things to kind of watch out for, but there's some really, really cool options that you can do to solve this really nice equation. Stay tuned. I got 2 more coming your way.